Heroes for me have had a very different impact on my world than they have on others, and I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for heroes. Like quite literally, would not be standing here, wouldn't be breathing, wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for heroes in my world. I wish I was as capable as you at your age and could plot my life out to how you have already, mate. You're a sensation. So bravo. I wish that was me, but my path went like this and this and this, and probably still is, but it finally clicked when I was probably about 30-ish. But so yeah, you've got time if you haven't quite worked out what you want to do. But my heroic journey started. I grew up. Actually, I was just driving into Yarram, and there's a kid out in his shorts and his t-shirt. He would have been freezing, but he was kicking the footy in the front yard, and I just thought, wow, that's Sunday morning. That's he's not in front of the telly. He's doing that, and that's the sort of stuff I used to do. I just had big dreams of. I was just obsessed with sport and footy in particular, and cricket. And when I was a boy, all I did was read. And play sport, but I read a lot and would be locked away in my room reading, and very different to all my friends and all my family who were very outgoing, and I was always very much on my own. And there's a reason for that later on, as we find out. But when I was 15, Mum took us into the city to the grand final parade, and my football hero, James Herb, just won the Brownlow medal, so he was going in the car, so I made sure Mum took us down to see that. And walking back through the crowd afterwards, and there's this elderly man in a trench coat, sort of hunched over, walking through the Burke Street Mall, and it was Dick Reynolds, Essendon's greatest ever player, and I was the only kid of the thousands there who recognised him, and he was really shocked when I ripped paper out of Mum's bag, printed up and said, "Mr. Reynolds, please." And he was shocked that anyone recognised him, and that shocked me because I thought, this is football god here. I know everything about you. But so it started a bit of an interest in me wanting to know about his story, and I just hoped that a book would be on the shelf one day about his life. It's very annoying when there never was. So that was in 1996, and in 1998 I got diagnosed with depression very badly. It was pretty brutal, and that's the start of a different pathway that ends up getting me to Dick Reynolds' story. But it wasn't the smoothest pathway I'd hoped. Your world just sort of changed overnight, and you crashed. You were not a fun brother to be around, not a fun son, not a fun friend, not an ideal boyfriend, not an ideal employee, nothing really. So it started a journey that went as low as it could go. Throughout it all, my interest in sport and reading, and I always just felt I had a reason to be here. Certainly not as inspiring as all you, but I just had a reason. I knew I wanted to do something great, but I had no idea everyone's finishing high school and planning their university pathways, and I'm too erratic to really be able to plan tomorrow or even this afternoon. So I never knew what I was doing. I was never able to plot out where I was going. Just all starts to fall into place. But so at the lowest points, you don't want to be alive. And James Herb, my hero, actually spoke the other day, and he's gone through a lot of mental health things himself, and he said he had an injury. It was my 21st birthday. It was the day after he had an injury. I was gutted, ruined my birthday really, but he ran into his teammate's head on the footy field and into his teammate's knee, and it was car crash type stuff with his head, and he had to have, I think, like 10 plates put in his head. His face got peeled back. He had to get completely reconstructed. Still looks better than me. And he spoke recently after all the mental health things he's gone through with all the Essendon stuff, which we all know about, and he said that he'd quite happily go through the car crash again rather than deal with the depths of the mental health struggles that he went through, and I can relate. I'd sacrifice this tomorrow if you could clear my head and just let me be as happy as all you are and be as bubbly and loud, and it's a hell of a journey. But the heroes, the interest in sports heroes and being involved in that, and has kept me going a lot. Great family as well, but my heroes I just read consistently about all sports all around the world, and just one day I was been up and down. I've been suicidal. I've attempted to take my life a few times, and somehow survived through that. And what always used to get me up was to get up and read the paper and read about my heroes and read my books. And you'd have days and weeks where you wouldn't get out of bed because you just couldn't function. Anyway, it's not all doom and gloom. And so I was, what was I, 2010, so I was 29-ish, and I just said one day that no one's written this book on Dick Reynolds, so I think I'll just do it. I mean, that's a pretty naive pathway, again, not plotted out like you, mate, so who knows what's involved in that. So the journey started anyway, and I interviewed, over the next 4 years, I interviewed 200 people, which for me, I'm better talking to myself than I am talking to anyone. So that was, you talk about stepping out of your comfort zone, and that was that. And you get better as you go along. And anyway, 200 people 4 years later, I've told his life story, and it started a different pathway. It suddenly gave me an identity. Just through being involved in this and learning people's lives, and getting better at interviewing, getting better at writing, hopefully, and it just grew from there. And in the last, so that was 4 years ago, and I've now, as I stand here, I've just released my 10th book. I think I'm probably, I don't know, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not saying they're any good, but I think I'm probably, I don't know the figures, but I'm probably the most prolific non-fiction author in the country, maybe in the last 4 years or something. In that time, I forgot to mention that when I was when I was 30, 31, I got diagnosed with Asperger's as well. So if anyone knows what that's like, that's another mental hell in itself. But it helped explain a lot of things I wish I knew at your age, mate, what it entailed, because it's intense. I'd be in a suit today, but I can't wear a suit because I can't wear tight clothing. I can't be around loud noises. Can't stick to times. It explained where the depression type thing grew from, in terms of struggling to keep relationships, stay in jobs, because you can be so up and down, there'd be a party going on and all my friends and family, and I'd be next door in the other room wishing no one was there, but wishing they were there at the same time. It was just such an intense battle within myself. I think that if anyone's seen that movie, A Beautiful Mind, where I'm not schizophrenic, but he was schizophrenic, and the voices and the people in his life were real, even though they weren't. And what he did was he learnt to just say hello to this hell going on his shoulder and just get up and keep doing it. And the writing enabled me to do that, in a sense. All my friends say, how do you get up and do this every day? Like, I work 7 days a week, and you don't even think about it. I don't work, I just get up and write about footy and interview. I've probably interviewed maybe 500 people now, and a publisher said the other day that I've got a unique gift for drawing stuff out of people. I didn't realise that, but he recognised that. So that all just grew from the Asperger's type of thing. I think actually made makes me better at that, because you get so intense with your focuses, and mine was reading growing up and wanting to know about sport history and everything. So it's actually worked in my favour now, even though it drives me mental, and I've got to dress certain ways and I've got to pick and choose where I sit and all this stuff. But it's actually, I guess it's an heroic thing in a way, that you're able to face your fears and face your hells and face your demons, and go and contact Ron Barassi and go and contact James Hird, all these people that you'd never dare approach, but you just idolise from afar. I've been able to do that, and my message to everyone, I've got a little son now, which was never going to happen, and that's something that's come out of the positivity that's come out of my writing and my life, and I'll just be telling him, don't stress if you don't know what you want to do, don't worry if someone thinks you shouldn't be wearing these clothes, or you can't do this and this and this. You can do anything really, as soon as you find what you love, if you have great people around you. But just knock on doors. I was knocking on doors that I was expecting to get the kick up the backside and get out of my face. But when people see that you love something or you're interested in something, it's amazing what doors open. I'm standing here, which is pretty freaky in itself. Thank you, Matt. So, that's sort of my brief snapshot of my story anyway. But thanks for giving me a chance just to share a bit of that.
The Hero Roundtables are the global events that ask the question, what is a hero? You've just seen one hero talk. To find more and join the conversation, visit our website or social media.